The Pittsburgh Penguins have given multiple surprising updates, and this has major implications on the team's roster. Dan Muse has provided us with updates surrounding Justin Brazeau, Noel Acciari on your screen right now, and Rakell as they hope to come back to the roster very, very soon. And this will be huge for the Pittsburgh Penguins in the stretch run here as they go into the holiday break, hoping to maintain a spot in the playoffs. Hello, everyone. My name is Nikash Ganguli. Hope everyone is having a great day, a great time whenever you are getting the chance to watch this. But we have some huge stuff to talk about involving injuries within the Pittsburgh Penguins. There's been a lot of injuries on the team. Justin Brazeau, Noel Acciari, Rakell, who I said at the intro of the video. And we're going to talk about some timeline updates. Maybe they'll be able to play next week, as soon as next week, some of them. And we'll get into that and more in today's video. Before we do that, make sure you guys do, of course, subscribe to the channel. We are at 67.5% of viewers who are not subscribed to Penguins Digest. And we're trying to get to 2,500 subscribers on the channel. So if you are part of that portion that is not subscribed to Penguins Digest, hit that subscribe button. It's really easy. It's free. It helps out me and it helps out everyone here at Digest Media. All right, let's get into the video, everyone. First things first, I did want to bring up this report. The two Pittsburgh Penguins forwards have returned to practice on Wednesday. The Penguins got some reinforcements during Wednesday's practice. Forwards Justin Brazeau and Noel Acciari returned to practice in regular jerseys, meaning there's no limitations for contact. They had been skating before practices and during morning skates before fully practicing on Monday. Brazeau was doing a few drills with Evgeni Malkin and Tommy Novak, while Acciari was rotating in the bottom six, and there wasn't really any complete lines. And also, I will add, I think Koppinen and Anthony Mantha were not practicing today. Mainly safe for Mantha and an illness for Koppinen. I just wanted to mention that before we get into the bulk of today's video. So let's talk about who is coming back and when they're coming back. So obviously, an important one is going to be none other than Justin Brazeau, who is a super important aspect of the Penguins roster. Ever since he went down, it feels like, that second line has been kind of in and out. But again, when he was playing against a goal every 2 games, it basically what he was scoring 6 goals in 12 games here, and then a point-a-game player. He was a revelation for the Penguins when he was playing. That injury was obviously super unfortunate, and kind of a diamond in the rough that the Penguins and Kyle Dubas were able to find. Also credit to Dan Muse for putting the work in and getting him with the right players. But Justin Brazeau looks like he might be back soon, and he had this to say during the after practice. When it's kind of your first good start like that, it's not ideal, but things happen. And it's the way you bounce back from it. Obviously, I feel good right now. I had a good last couple weeks of being able to get back in the gym. And of course, it's super huge that he is going to be back because the Penguins, again, I keep saying they're dealing with a lot of injuries. They've still been able to float in that kind of playoff contention, that hot start they had that everyone's going to remember, the October that they had. The November was still decent, they were able to salvage it. And now we're in December. It's a brand new month. The holiday season is kind of up soon, so hopefully the players are, getting ready for that. But Sidney Crosby, he's not slowing down as they shackled the Flyers yesterday. I think he's on pace for 59 goals, and if they can add another goal scorer back into the lineup in Justin Brazeau, that would be huge. I think it's going to be super exciting for when he is able to return, and that will be awesome for the Penguins fans and the Penguins team. I think he, good vibes in the locker room. He was penciled in at the 4th line when the season started, and then he rose up second line, playing great minutes with Malkin and Mantha, and I think, we've seen those two players' production not just be as, strong as it was without Brazeau as when he was playing in the lineup. Malkin's still been pretty solid, but I think someone like Mantha could really use the boost of Brazeau coming back to his line, of course. And then it should be important to mention Noel Acciari is also coming back, a guy who was a main staple on that 4th line, 3 points in 13 games. You're not looking at him for, major production. But again, with that line of, I think, would have been Connor Dewar and Blake Lizotte, I think they really found something when those 3 players were together. It seems like there's been a guy that's been injured on each line for weeks now. So I think Noel Acciari coming back would be huge. Can play he's played mostly wing, but he can play center if he needs to. And, he just adds that sort of hard-working, blue-collar type, play in the bottom six that the Penguins lack when he's not there. Again, you do have that super skilled third line with McGurty, Kindle, and Koivunen, and then they had kind of been rotating guys out with, Duer was on the first line every now and then. You had Boko Imama in there, for some practices in a game, I believe. And now, hopefully, Acciari can come back and really just stabilize that fourth line, because I think, a good fourth line is super underrated for, having a good hockey team just in general. I mean, all the good teams have solid, cemented, regular fourth lines. Obviously, you said you try to work on some stuff in the summer, whether it was losing some weight and maybe getting a little faster and quicker. Mentioned meshing with Duer and Lazat. I'm itching to get back whenever that may be. Get back after it and pick up where we left off, of course, which is super important. And then Dan Muse also had this to say about the players. They're going to travel with us. Today was obviously a big step for them. Both guys looked good, so they're getting close. But I don't think they'll return tomorrow, just to make that clear. So, not getting everyone's hopes up that they'll be back in tomorrow's game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. But, I think that game's still going to be good. The Tampa Bay Lightning have been on fire. The Penguins, they've been pretty good as of late as well. So, and just as I was putting this video together, the Penguins did post this, so we do have a definite timeline from Kyle Dubas, actually. He said Justin Brazeau and Acciari are going to be, back in about a week, maybe 10 days if it stretches that long. And Rakell, who I didn't want to talk about, is going to be back in 3 to 4 weeks. So I feel like he'll come back in the new year. I don't think they're going to rush him back, give him that holiday break, that New Year's break. And I think he'll be back in January, in my opinion, is when I don't think they'll rush him back. There's a lot of, it's a highly coveted asset, whether it be a trade or just on the team in general. I'm not saying he's going to get traded, Penguins fans, but I just think it does make a lot of sense to keep him and rest him, because he is going to be huge for that first line, man, because they've just had people in and out. And Rakell, obviously 8 points in 9 games, 3 goals, 5 assists. And, last year he was even playing amazing, similar numbers. A lot of people said that he should have been traded, but he wasn't. But he has, kind of found a spot on that line with Crosby and Rust. And I think that's been missing. They've tried Kindle there. They've tried Duer there. They've tried a bunch of players there, but Rakell is that guy who I think needs to come back and really, again, just get some stability in the Penguins lineup. There's been, so many moving pieces with injuries. Kevin Hayes coming back as well. McGurty called up. Koivunen called up. All these guys that have kind of been in and out of the lineup. But I think, once Rakell comes back, which I assume we'll have a video on that in a month too when he comes back. So, again, just a little bit further out for Rakell, but I think he still will be very important. And Josh Owe also had this to say about the two players. Rakell had surgery on his left hand in late October with an announced recovery timeline of 6 to 8 weeks. It's been just over 5 weeks since then, so he's likely to return sometime in December. So it's been 5 weeks, and they said 3 to 4 weeks, so the timeline is still, going, I think, late December, early January. When he does, the Penguins' top line figures to take off. Crosby has done most of his scoring this season on the power play because the top line hasn't been healthy. Rakell makes a big difference. Hopefully he'll be back soon. And the second line, formerly the big man unit of Evgeni Malkin, Anthony Mantha, and Justin Brazeau, hasn't clicked since Brazeau was placed on injury reserve on November 5th. The Penguins said Brazeau will miss at least 4 weeks, which would be Wednesday, so he could return soon. Again, the timeline does line up. While there's no guarantee he'll be performing at his level from October, and history says he won't. His start was not fluky. His hands are legit. Size doesn't lie. Sometimes the right player finds the right team and the right line mates. When he returns to the second line led by a determined Malkin, he will be better. I think Malkin's just going to start lighting it up again once he does come back. And I think, again, while Crosby and Malkin obviously make, Brazeau and Rakell better, I think those two players also are huge, gloves for a guy like Crosby. They fit him so well, and I think it will be super important for those players to get back, and just in general for the Pittsburgh Penguins as well. And then before we get out of here, Yohi also wanted to talk about the standings in his article. The Penguins were a little shaky in November, yes, but they've won 3 of their last 4 games, aside from that loss to Toronto, which was pretty bad, but they've looked good. Outside of that, sometimes you just have a bad game, and are back in a playoff spot, and they're about to get healthy. Looking at the wildcard standings right now, they just beat the Flyers. They, beat the brakes off of them is the words I will use for that. 31. They have 31 points, 25 games. The Flyers are still right behind them with the same amount of points. And then the Islanders and the Blue Jackets are have each played 1 extra game, but are 2 points behind. So again, it's going to be a super interesting race. See what happens, and of course, They are in Tampa Bay to play the Lightning tomorrow, and then they have the Stars on Sunday, and then the Ducks on Tuesday. So 3 games until I believe a week from now. So again, hopefully we'll get Brazeau and Acciari back maybe for that Ducks game, or maybe a game later in the week next week. So that will be interesting. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about how Brazeau and Acciari coming back will impact the lineup. I'm super excited for that. And of course, everyone, let's go Penguins, and we'll see you in the next video. Subscribe if you enjoyed. Peace out for now.